Welcome to Speedy Walkthroughs, where we show just the important stuff for beating the game. For first time viewers, this will look different to a normal walkthrough. It shows just the essentials so you don't need to spend a long time watching this video. Today we're playing Wonder Boy for the Sega Master System, also known as Adventure Island on the NES, and it has an arcade version and everything. Before we get stuck into it, if you do end up finding this video useful, consider subscribing to keep up to date. It helps out the channel a whole bunch and there should be a new walkthrough up each week. Now, if you played a little bit of this game, you're probably thinking, hey, it actually doesn't need a walkthrough because it's linear, you just go left to right. But the game is a little bit more nuanced than that under the hood. Basically, there are 9 worlds, each with 4 zones, and that's like the bad ending. If you want to get the good ending, you've got to get all the dolls on each level, and then you make it through to world 10, and then you get the good ending. So I'll be showing you how to get all the dolls in this walkthrough. Just before we look at all the dolls though, one thing to mention is that the movement mechanics in this game are a little bit counterintuitive. Basically, you can press the 2 button to jump and you can press the 1 button to run, even though it's not visibly very obvious that you're running. If you're holding the 1 button and then you press the 2 button, you'll do a high jump. So basically, when you play this game, you want the 1 button held down pretty much all the time, and then you press the 2 button to do high jumps. If you do need to do a low jump, you just let go of the 1 button. That took me ages to figure out as a kid, and for that reason I couldn't get across some of the bigger gaps in this game. Now, I also mentioned there is a level select code in this game. As you're loading up into a round, you can press 1, 1, 2, 2, and then hold the buttons together. And what will happen is the heart will keep floating up past where it normally would float. Then you can just press the up, down, left, and right buttons to sort of select around which areas and which rounds you're doing, just like so. So you can just go through here and select any one you want. From what I do, it's actually really good if you miss a doll in a particular area. You can go back and get it. And something that I only found out recently is that you only just need 36 dolls to access the final level. It doesn't matter where the dolls are from. So in theory, you could just keep playing Area 1, Round 1 over and over again, getting the dolls, and then you could have all 36. Then use the level select code to work all the way up to Area 9, Round 4, and then you could just go through to the final area. Level select does not let you select Area 10, so you have to sort of get there by collecting all 36 dolls. I will show you how to get through this game without using level select code, but I just thought I'd mention it as an easy way through in case you want to. Now, the other thing I'll quickly mention is the sort of warping feature of this game. So this fruit here that I'm about to collect, there's like a banana in the air. When I collect that, it turns into that purse handbag sort of thing. If you then jump back up and collect that, you're going to go to a secret warp zone up in the clouds. And basically, whatever item you collect might send you to one of the 4 checkpoints in the level itself. And I believe if you collect the second item, it sends you to the very last checkpoint. I'm not sure how consistent that is. Now, you might be worried about doing this and thinking you're going to miss the dolls if you get the item and skip parts of the level. But if you skip over the part of the level that would normally have the doll in it, it actually just automatically collects the doll for you. So that's one strategy you can potentially use. If you see one of these, it's probably not a bad idea to get it. The only thing that might be a downside is if you got the skateboard, you will lose the skateboard when you go into the bonus level. Speaking of the skateboard, it's quite a good item, makes you go just that little bit faster, and you know, it's an extra hit point as well, so it means that you don't automatically die as soon as you get hit by something. Speaking of dying, the other thing I should mention is the vitality meter at the top of the screen. So that ticks down, but you can collect fruit to tick it back up. So just collect all the fruit you see and you should normally be fine. Alright, with basic mechanics out of the way, we're going to look at the doll locations for every bit in the game. So for the first level, it's right after checkpoint 3 that you get the doll. So you just keep going through past this invincibility thing, past checkpoint 4, and then you get the doll right up here. Pretty hard to miss that one. Level 2 has its doll right after checkpoint 4. And again, this one's pretty hard to miss. For 1-3, the doll is also right after checkpoint 4. And you'll see that it's just going to be down a pit in 1 second there. So I'm on the skateboard and I'm going to slow down to get it, but probably a good idea is to lose the skateboard before you get to this section, otherwise you might miss the doll. 1-4 has the doll pretty much right at the start, just there. When you get to the end of any 4th level, you're going to fight a boss, so just jump and hammer its head to go through. Okay, 2-1 has the doll right after the second checkpoint. There it is. Now 2-2 has the doll fairly near the start of the level. So he's played through the first bit somewhat normally. You'll get up here and the doll's pretty hard to miss. Alright, next up, this doll's straight after checkpoint number 4. And it's literally just sitting right there. Alright, up to 2-4. This is the first pretty cryptic doll. It's in a hidden rock. Basically the third rock in this little set coming up here. There it is. You just land on that third rock and the doll should come out. You can actually throw your hammer at the rocks to figure out which rocks have dolls in them. So if your hammer bounces off, it doesn't have a doll in it, but if it does, then you can just hit the rock to get the doll. The unfortunate thing is you do lose your skateboard when you have to hit the rock. Next up we got 3-1, so the doll here is pretty much at the start of the level. Basically just in that rock there. Alright, next up the doll is after the third checkpoint here, and it's just sitting out in the open like that. Okay, next up the doll's after the fourth checkpoint and it just sits out in the open. Alright, for 3-4 the doll is after the fourth checkpoint, just in that rock there. With 4-1 the doll is straight after the third checkpoint, in a hidden rock right there. 4-2 the doll is after the fourth checkpoint in a hidden rock. In 4-3 the doll's out in the open near the start of the level. 4-4 also has the doll out near the start of the level. 5-1 has the doll shortly after the fourth checkpoint, in a hidden rock right there. 5-2 has the doll after the second checkpoint, again in a hidden rock. Next up the doll is straight after checkpoint 3 in a hidden rock. In 5-4 it's after the second checkpoint. Just out in the open there. Alrighty, in 6-1 we're after the second checkpoint, fairly out in the open. Next up we have the doll after checkpoint 3. Just sort of out in the open there. Alright, for 6-3 we have the doll straight after checkpoint 2. In that hidden rock there. Alright, 6-4 we have the doll straight after checkpoint 3, it's in a hidden rock. Doll's actually just a little bit before checkpoint 4, but could be easy to miss. There it is. In this level the doll's straight after checkpoint 4. Just out in the open this time. Next up the doll is straight after checkpoint 4. It's one of these ones where you have to fall down, so maybe lose the skateboard first. In 7-3 the doll is right at the start. It's in a hidden rock. There it is. In 7-4 we're right after the third checkpoint, just out in the open. Now 8-1 doesn't have checkpoints, so I can't give you a reference there, but the doll's pretty much out in the open. You'll see it like straight away. It's a fair way into the level. There it is. 8-2 has the doll shortly after the second checkpoint. It's in a hidden rock. There it is. Next up we have the doll straight after the third checkpoint. There it is. Next up we have the doll straight after the third checkpoint. Just in the hidden rock there. Alright, next up we have the third checkpoint here, so doll's just shortly after that, out in the open. Alright, 9-2, the doll's shortly after the second checkpoint here, out in the open again. In 9-3, it's after the second checkpoint. Just in a hidden rock here. Next up we have the doll straight after the third checkpoint. It's in a hidden rock, and it's in that same spot as last time, just before the fourth checkpoint. So that pair of two, there it is. Now you'll know if you got the extra doll because when you finish 9-4, if you got all the dolls, you'll actually go through to World 10. If you don't, you'll get the bad ending here. Now, though it's not strictly necessary, I will show you where to get dolls in World 10 itself as well, just for completeness. Although, given we got the best ending regardless, you don't necessarily need to. So the first one's after the second checkpoint in 10-1. Next one is after the fourth checkpoint. There it is. Next one's after the fourth checkpoint, and this is a very unusual one. It's actually hidden in fire, just there. Same thing sort of happens in 10-4, so it's after the fourth checkpoint, just in this fire here. Once you got that, you're going to get to the boss of World 10, and that is essentially the end of the game. Very satisfying when you beat the boss to see it not come off with like another head. It's just completely lost its head, unlike World 9's boss if you get the bad ending. And there we go. That's going to be all for this video, and I hope you found it useful. Thanks so much for watching.